we're getting secondary weapons in Monster Hunter Wilds. But you already knew that. Now, I've been watching a few other videos about secondary weapons, ranging from which will be good for fighting, to what will work best for teams, all the way to what weapon combos will work the best. But today, I want to make some predictions about what I think players are actually going to end up doing for their secondary weapons. Some of these are going to make sense, and some of these might just be unhinged. If you think I'm wrong, or if you have better predictions, feel free to let me know in the comments below. Now, let's get started with the low-hanging fruit. Okay, I want to get these out of the way just because they're literally the two easiest answers: LBG and Hunting Horn. LBG is obviously so good as a secondary weapon that they literally made it the default secondary weapon in the demo. You've got ranged attacks, CC, sticky, making gun noises while you play bang bang, as well as possible demon ammo and recovery ammo. This one is just such a no-brainer that I almost didn't even bother mentioning it. Then we got the Hunting Horn. Now that we know that the horn buffs carry over between weapons, I should not have to explain why this is good. While I think the attack up buff is objectively the best one, I get the feeling that if any new players want to secondary this weapon, the song that'll give them the best time playing is probably earplugs, the noise that stops other noises. Well, if any of you new folk are finding it too hard to switch between the horn and your main weapon constantly, life hack, just switch to playing the horn permanently, baby. Problem solved. Given that this is going to be a completely new game, a good deal of the gameplay is going to be hunting monsters in the open environment. And in the open environment, once you deal enough damage, you're going to send the monster crying back to their house to go to sleep like a little bitch. Well, that's where this weapon comes in. Someone's gotta wake them up, right? Hang on. Am I suggesting that you put the greatsword as a secondary weapon, literally just to use for monster wake-ups? Yep. For one, the greatsword isn't going to conflict with most weapon builds, as long as you're not running any insane meme loadouts. I'm looking at you, bubbly dance. So for most builds running a reasonable amount of crit, your damage with the greatsword will probably be fine. And as an added bonus, if you're ever feeling useless, you can always spam jump attacks off your sacred for free mount damage. Next up, longsword. Why longsword? I don't even have a good reason for this one as far as gameplay goes, but the way I see it, if this is anything like the other games, longsword is probably going to be the #1 most popular #1 weapon. So I don't think it's too crazy to assume that it's also going to be the #1 most popular #2 weapon as well. Heck, I'm a hunting horn man, and even I switched to this thing for Elatrian SOS hunts. Should you run it as your secondary weapon? I mean, I don't know. Do you like it? Then yeah, go make it the #1, #2 weapon. Alright, so this one's going to be a bit of a loose cannon guess, but I think the glaive might be a good secondary weapon, literally just because you can use it to jump. Now, we don't know a whole lot about how all the maps will look like, but given that this game is going to be a little more based on Monster Hunter World, I'm going to assume that most of the environment is going to be designed around being traversed by foot or by sacred.
Hey, what are you doing over there?
Father, look at this beautiful world we live in.
This means that most likely it's going to be pretty flat, instead of relatively vertical like rise. Haha, vertical rise, I guess. Anyway, with that said, I have a bit of a sneaking suspicion that there's going to be some spots with ledges that you can either shortcut across or that you can just get to because the developers maybe didn't fully think about designing the environment around glaive vaulting. Now, is it worth trading an entire secondary weapon slot just for a 1% chance that maybe a dev forgot to close a gap somewhere? Probably not, so maybe just learn the weapon while you're at it. Finally, for the #1 most popular weapon, I think it's literally going to be just your weapon, but a slightly different build. Why do I think this? I swear it's not just because it's the laziest possible option, though I'm sure that's going to be part of it. For starters, I think there's a good subsection of players that like to just main a single weapon. I get it, learning other things is hard, and sometimes only one weapon really clicks with your heart. If that's you, then a secondary weapon is probably just a good excuse for you to play the weapon you love even more. Maybe you want to run one elemental and one raw build. Maybe you play a weapon that's got variations between weapons, like different song lists, different file types, or different shelling types. Do we still have different shelling types for Gunlance? Gunlance mains in the comments, please let me know. The other part of this is that some weapons just have to invest a little too hard into specific skills to really want to play something else. There's actually a really good video by Lord Vietner theory crafting some of the possible combos. But even with that, trying to figure out what other weapons can use Mighty Bow Jewel or Hunting Horn Song Jewel might be a bit of a challenge. I mean, maybe if we're lucky, we'll get more 50-50 skills like Mind's Eye Ballistics to encourage certain weapon combos. Alright, bonus weapon, any weapon with an upswing. Sometimes you just gotta send your friends to space. Don't do this to randoms though, or I will find you and I will upswing you in your house, out of your bed while you're sleeping. Anyway, thank you guys for watching. Gee, I sure hope you guys are as excited for this game as I am. I have literally played World every day this week. If you guys liked the video, feel free to like or subscribe and have a good day.